Catie, James here with you. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. It's my pleasure to be here with a very, very special guest, someone who is no stranger to Catie audiences all, the wonderful, the talented, the legendary
I like that.
Catie Engelhardt. How you doing, man?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. It's great to have you here. And we've spent I think we were supposed to have been recording a lot earlier, but we're just sort of hanging out, catching up and all that stuff.
Yeah.
We got lots to chat about today, and I really want to kind of do a little bit of a sort of like an Catie retrospective with you, if that's okay. Sort of like going back to those early times, like when you first started doing Catie, through to now, because you've had a few sort of pretty awesome experiences and sort of left school and gone into one particular area, have kind of come back in a celebrated way and have become a bit of a sort of like a celebrated award winner as well.
Oh.
That's happened too.
How do you know about that?
Oh, mate, I know everything. I know everything. We've also got music from Sigrid, Pinhao, Coldplay and Taya, but right now this is brand new from David Guetta. You are listening to Catie on Life FM. That is David Guetta. You are listening to Catie on Life FM. James here with you. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. My very special guest this evening is the wonderful Catie Engelhardt coming into the Catie studio to just chat about just stuff in general. Said originally, I don't know what I'm going to be talking about. This is going to be a bit threatening. I said, I don't know what we're going to be talking about either. So we're both in the same boat. So we're absolutely fine. But I would love to start off by chatting sort of as we were sort of doing some reminiscing and stuff like that, talking about really how long it's been since I guess you first started doing radio and doing podcasting. When was the very first time that you did do the Catie program? The first time I came into school, you were at Cabra at the time. I think you were a year 10 or a year 11 at the time. Is that right?
I was trying to remember last night. I was reminiscing. I think it was year 11.
Yeah. No,
because it was just after my boyfriend at the time dumped me. That's how I remember it, because I was like, guess what I just did? And I rubbed it in his face. And I'm pretty sure it was
I love that you used it as a flex.
Yeah, it was. I was like, what are you doing with your life, buddy? I just did a podcast. Haha. But he...
So what was it? Was it year 10, year 11?
Year 11.
Year 11.
It was end of year 11. And I wasn't even supposed to do that one, the first one I did. My teacher, apparently some students pulled out of it, and he was like, if you get your work done on time, because I was notorious for not getting my work done on time. Uh-huh. He was like, if you get your work done on time, you can come do this podcasting thing, because all you do in class is talk, so maybe you'll like it. And I was like, maybe I will. So for once I handed my homework up on time, didn't get a log, and then the rest was history. Yeah. Do
you remember what the first podcast was that you made?
Yes.
What was it?
It was the Party Host podcast with Lockie.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Me and my boyfriend went on a road trip to Melbourne, and I was going through my saved podcast, and that one came up, and I was like, no way, this was 2 months ago, and we listened back to it.
And what'd you think listening back to it?
Sounds so prepubescent. we sound so little. It was crazy. I sound like I have a gun to my head as well.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I feel like recently I've learnt how to talk into a microphone without sounding like
so it sounds like a hostage negotiation sort of thing. Yeah.
Or I'd be like, la, 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 and Locke would be
welcome to the podcast. Please send $200 in unmarked bills.
Please, yeah. But it was Party Host podcast, and we got in trouble for that one, actually, from our work. I was polite in mine. I didn't make fun of the company. I made fun of the customers.
Uh-huh.
Because they were rude. People are rude.
Yeah.
But some people came in there and were like, they fired me for no reason, blah, 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 blah. But if you listened to their podcast, there were reasons off of that. It was the talk of work for 3 months straight.
Yeah, right.
It was bad. It was the scandal.
Yeah, full on. So that happened, and you went away from that experience going, now that was actually a really cool thing. So if you used it as a flex on your ex-boyfriend, clearly that was something that you really enjoyed. What was it about it that you really liked? I
don't know. I feel like I always found an interest. Well, originally I wanted to do vet, but if you looked at my ATAR, you'd see why I didn't apply for that.
Right.
But I don't know, I always liked to talk, and I felt not in an up myself way, but lots of people would be like, oh, you're kind of funny. You make good jokes. You make some knee slappers, And I'm like, thanks, guys. And I don't know. I think I discovered, why be told to shut up when there's a job where you can just talk? And I think I always found a really cool thing with that. It was a cool way of self-expression as well.
Yeah.
And then after I did the course with you, I was like, wait, this is the most fun I've ever had in school. I was excited to go to
That's
school.
so good.
Yeah.
I'm so thrilled about that.
I remember going up to you and being like, hey, James, like, if you ever need any help at the ArchD Studios, like, I'm always free. And then you were like, yeah, man, sure. And I remember going home and be like, Mom, guess what? Like, I was so excited. I was twiddling my feet and everything.
Yeah. That's wild. I want to talk a lot. I mean, there's so many other experiences that you had as well, like you're doing the Lost Shoe one. In fact, we had Annalise Pittman in before, and I was saying, I guess who we're having in later? We're having Catie Engelhardt coming in. She goes, yes, the Lost Shoe podcast girl. Les. It was like, she loved it. She thought it was absolutely amazing. As well as other stuff that you've done recently, because you have just deep dove into the radio and podcasting world now, and that's very, very exciting. We've also got music from Pinyao, Coldplay and Taya, but right now this is brand new from Anika. You are listening to ArchD on Life FM. That is Sigrid. You are listening to ArchD on Life FM. James here with you. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. My very special guest tonight is the wonderful award-winning Catie Engelhardt. Should we talk about the award? I think the award is pretty cool. So the award.
Which one? I'm joking.
I know, but you've won numerous now, haven't you? You won. Well, let's go back to the ArchD awards first. So the first one you got, was it for the Lost Shoe? Was it for that one?
Major throwback, actually. It's still hanging in my wall. There's a Principal Podcast Award.
Oh yes, that's right.
That we have
for the best team of the most collaborative team at the school
for the Cabra cast.
Yes, that was for the Cabra cast.
Yeah,
but for the Lost Shoe one, because I remember at the time as well. It was such a shame because we had Ira Glass, the legend, basically the architect of podcasting, as our very special guest for Podcasting Leaders Day. And I remember we just couldn't get yours done in time for him to have a listen to and give feedback for, that was really gut wrenching to me, especially after I heard it and heard what it was like. And I remember Michaela, who was working here at the time as well. I think she was almost tearful, actually, because she was like going, I can't believe that we can't get him to listen to this because it's just so amazing and so good. I almost found that as, no offense, Ira, like I think Ira's amazing, but I thought it was a bit of a positive thing because you guys felt so bad. You were like, here, come sit with Jodie Oddy. Yeah, that's right. And I was like, if I have to. And then we were like besties. We were like this by the end of it. And I remember us being like, so like, what do you recommend for like getting links into radio? And she was like, come into the studio. And I was like, okay. Like, so even though like I didn't get to hear my podcast, and that is sad, I still got something good out of it. Like I got to go into Nova and experience real radio. And what was that like, that experience of doing that? It was so cool. Yeah? What do you remember about that day? I remember being like, dude, this is radio. Like, why do I have nothing to say right now? Like I was so shy. Yeah. It was literally like my lips were zipped. But I remember I made everyone laugh one time. And I was like, I'm in, I've got it. But it was just really interesting because I'd never experienced live radio as such, like not like into it like that, I guess. And they did it so well. It's like they knew, Jodie's like a pro. She does not like the back of her hand. But watching it in person, it was like my major fangirl moment. Just so cool. Yeah, it's such doing live radio is such a high adrenaline thing. Like it's the ultimate high adrenaline experience, I think, because you can't unsay it, and you can't if you leave a big pause in the middle of something, you can't get that back. It's there forever. Yeah, I really liked trying live radio out, but I feel like I end up blacking out halfway through, so I don't know what I say till I listen it back. Listen to it back. Yeah. I see. So, there's so much more to get into. We'll talk about more stuff. I also got music from Taya, Galantis, Heather Frant, and heaps more. But right now, this is Pinyao and Coldplay. You are listening to ArchD on Life FM. That is Pinyao and Coldplay. You are listening to ArchD on Life FM. Taya, Galantis on the way very shortly. My name is James Meston, and the wonderful Catie Engelhardt is my very special guest. Here on the show, we're chatting about all stuff, radio, podcasting, and all of that stuff. Now, when you left school, you finished not last year before? 2022. 2022, right. Yeah, yonks ago. You went off and did something different. You didn't go straight back into radio, did you? You went and did other things. What did you do? I thought my radio days were done, to be honest. Oh, you were so old. Yeah, I know. I'm retiring, undefeated from the world of competitive radio. Let me get my walking cane. Yeah. But I studied film. Not gonna lie, don't take my advice on this if you're looking at going to uni. I honestly just did it because I got FOMO.
because my
Right.
best friend Kate was like, I'm going to do film. And I was like, maybe I'll do film too. Because I did like film. I worked so hard in year 12 in film and it was something I found passion in. But for some reason, when I started uni, that passion just kind of died. And
Yeah.
I did it for 2 years because I was like, okay, maybe first year's just first year, you know? But I don't know. I just didn't really enjoy on set life as well. I felt like it was very...
Why is that?
I understand like radio is very competitive as well. Like any creative career is very competitive, but film was very, very harsh, especially like being a woman. I don't know, you'd get talked down to a lot. And
Really?
I'm a very...
Did you find a lot of the people who were in those more higher up positions were men?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
like disproportionately?
People wouldn't listen to you if you had estrogen. Like, sorry, I don't know if I could say that, but people wouldn't listen to you. Like, it would make me so angry. Like, sorry that my estrogen doesn't make me know as much as you. Or the superiority complex of like, you've never seen Fight Club. Like, no, I've never seen Fight Club. That doesn't mean I don't know how to use a camera or something. Where
Yeah.
I feel like radio, everyone's a lot more welcoming because the whole thing is people love you as you are. People love you because you're yourself. And that's the thing about radio that's cool. Like, you can be yourself, where film, you always have to hide behind like the stereotype of what you have to be.
And I think too, like with radio as well, like it really does hinge on the fact that if you're not kind of working with one another and not like lifting each other up, the whole thing falls apart. You know, it's very much like that. Part of the course, the level 2 course in podcasting, when we used to teach it, we used to do a lot of that kind of improv theatre style stuff where you've
I
always got to
remember
say,
that.
where you've got to do yes and, like you've got to always build on what it is that other people have done, or else the whole thing falls apart. So I think
Yeah.
even the very kind of DNA of radio is you've actually got to be supportive and helpful for one another.
Yeah, I loved collaborating with everyone. I just think it's fun. It's just having a conversation.
So when you decided to kind of go back and start doing more radio stuff, what was it that made you make that decision then after that to go, I want to go back and do more of this?
I was so set, like midway through last year, I was like, I can't go back to uni. Like, I'm so miserable doing this course. It's not for me, but I don't know what to do next. And then mum was like, what about your radio stuff? And I was like, oh, I would really like to do that. But I had no clue how to get there. I was like, maybe I can message James Meston or something, but I've got no idea what I'm doing. And then mum's best friend, don't even know how she knew about it, but shout out Sean Craig Murphy. She was like, why don't you try the Australian Radio School? And I'd never heard about it before that. So I looked it up and I was like, this looks really cool.
And it's in Adelaide.
Yeah,
which
it's
is
in Adelaide.
wild.
I was like, what do we have in Adelaide besides the Moores Bulls? Like, so I was shocked to find out
Yeah.
it's here. And then Tom Basso, shout out Tom Basso, he did it.
All ex-HD, yep.
I messaged him. I was like, do you recommend this course? He was like, dude, it was so amazing. Everyone that I know that's in radio got to radio through the course.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like I'll try this. And then I called Sean for the interview and then he was like, you're funny. And I was like, oh, he likes me. Like maybe I'm doing the right thing. And then doing the course, it was the first time where I felt confident in myself, I guess. Like
I guess so.
film knocked me down a lot. Like I was like, I don't know what I'm good at. I have no talents. And then I came into radio school and I was like, I feel like I've got something that like maybe I can hold on to that like maybe I'm good at.
You felt like you were in the right place.
Yeah, I was actually happy to go.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And where things have gone from there have been really, really amazing for you. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Also got music from Galantis, Heather Fran and Holvey. But right now, this is Taya. You are listening to HD on Life FM. That's Galantis. You are listening to HD on Life FM. James here with you. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. My very special guest tonight is the wonderful Catie Engelhardt, talking about all experiences with HD and radio. And there's been so much. We're just literally just rocketing through it all, blitzing through it all. And where we just left it, you just started doing some stuff with Sean Craig Murphy as part of the Australian Radio School. Now, you've done like multiple courses through that.
Yeah.
You did the intro course and even ran across a few kind of like old friends along the way as you were going in there. Talk about that experience, because I only heard about this from another person who was also there as well. And like you all found yourself together, all of these ex-RHD people all in one spot.
Yeah.
Like what was that moment like on the first day of the course?
Well, originally Michaela wasn't doing the course. So I was so nervous to do this course. I almost pulled out the day of it. I was like, no, like I'm going to be so shy. I'm not, like nothing's going to come out if I try to speak. But I find myself like I'm more comfortable if I know people there. And so I messaged Michaela. I was like, what's the odds she wants to do the course? Because I know she wants to try and like get.
And this was day of, wasn't it? The day of.
2 hours before it started.
Wild.
And I messaged her and I was like, are you doing the Australian radio school? And she was like, oh my gosh. And I thought she was going to say yes. And then she went, no. And I was so upset.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you should do it. You should do it. Like there's still spots maybe. And because I remember you saying that like you knew Sean. And I was like, why don't you just call Sean up? And she was like, I can't do that. I was like, call Sean up. And then she ghosted me for like 20 minutes and I was like, damn, like she really doesn't want to do it.
20 minutes ghosting, really?
In this economy,
I guess
in this society, yeah.
Especially if you're trying to organise something at short notice, I guess, yeah.
I was checking my phone like every 5 seconds, like, oh, I guess I have to do it by myself. And then she like randomly responded, she was like, okay, I'll see you tonight. And I was like, what? And she was like, yeah, I called Sean and he said I can do it. So I was like, thank gosh, like this is going to be so good. I have a friend to do the course with.
Yeah.
And then we walk in and right out the front, we see another person that we're really good friends with from ArchD, Harry. And I was like, what are the odds? And we almost, I say we kind of.
And you'd also done Nova with him as well when you'd gone in and done that together. Yeah,
we did a podcast together back in the day as well. Like we go way back.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy. I hadn't talked to him in like 6 months. Like we were like civil, like nothing happened, but we never really talked. But then like we walked through the doors and it was like we were all best friends again. Like even though we hadn't seen each other in ages, we just clicked and it was so fun. Every week, like going to just not muck around, but, you know, have fun, but also learn stuff with like these two people that were like my best friends. It was great.
Yeah.
It was the best.
And then after that, you went back and there was that course, you did the introduction, and then there was the masterclass course as well after that as well. So clearly that whole thing, you just went, I want to do more.
Well. I did 3.
Oh, sorry, you've done 3 now.
Yeah.
And you've done sort of like the masterclass. Is there anything else to do now? Have you sort of done them all?
There is, but I feel like I've kind of milked my money dry.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's so worth it, but I'm so broke in this. Like I work at Cotton On, like love Cotton On, but it does not pay the bills. And I don't know, I feel like I've learned enough in the past 6 months where I'm ready to go out and do it.
Yeah.
There's almost I want to do another one just so I'm not responsible for like my future almost.
Yeah.
Because it's like a security blanket in the 12-week course. Like there's someone there that's going to help me. But once you're out there, Sean's always there. Like I message him and stuff like, hey, help. But I'm on my own. Like I have to reach out to people now.
Yeah.
So if I do another course, then it's like, oh, I have another month till I can do. I think it's just adulting. I think that's what the scary bit is.
Adulting is always scary.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, like just, you know, spoiler warning, adulting never gets less scary. But in terms of, I guess, validation that you've done well and that you've kind of gone, no, did I come out the other side of that? And you know, do people think I did very, very well? Every year they do this awards thing at the end, which is it's called the Daisy Award, which is a bit of a funny name, but it's named after David Daisy Day, who was the original sort of like starter of the Australian radio school, legendary South Australian radio announcer from back in the day, and they award the people who are sort of like the most outstanding announcers over the course of all the courses that happen over the course of the year. They announce it on, I think, New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Is that when it all happens? And I got a lovely surprise when I saw the person who won the big award, which was Michaela, which was a real surprise. But then, you know, that wonderful surprise kept on going because then I found out who the runner-up was, who got the second place. And that was you.
Yeah.
What was that moment like for you?
Because he treated it like the Hunger Games almost. Like every day he'd be like, these are the people and the names. And me and Michaela and Miz, the girl who got third, we had a group chat together because we all became really close and formed a really special bond from it. Mm-hmm. And every day we'd be like, guys, we're still in. Guys, we're still in. And it got to the second to last day and it was still us 3. And I was like, guys, we're still in. And I remember saying to my mum, I don't care who wins at this point because no matter what, like me and my like 2 favorite people, we're the top 3. Like I was so happy. And then I got second and I was so honored. I was like, oh my gosh, I screenshot it and sent it to all my family. I was like, guys, I don't know. It was the first time in like a, not professional setting where it was like an award that I was like, this is really cool.
Yeah.
This is like, I can put this on a resume and be like, yeah, guys.
Yeah. And it's an amazing thing because I think we go through life so often trying so many things and dipping our toe in the water for so many things. And there are so many things that we do where, I mean, let's be frank, that we're just kind of mediocre at, you know, that we don't, or we're not particularly great at. When you actually find something and you go, I really love this, I'm really passionate about this, and I'm actually being acknowledged that other people, industry people, actually think I'm good. I mean, they're special moments, aren't they, when those sorts of things happen? I mean, how did that, I mean, really, like that actual moment when you found out that you were the runner-up, I mean, do you remember any particular thoughts or feelings that you had right at that second?
I was in Costco.
You're in Costco?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I was like, no way. Because, I found out I was in the top 2 at Costco. And then I left because it was New Year's Eve. So I was like driving to the party with my friends. And I opened it. I was like, guys, I got second. And I was so, I don't know, I just didn't expect it because through the weeks, I was like, okay, if I get top 10, like that'd be pretty cool, you know? But every day, like seeing my name there, it was like another day of validation almost. Like, wow, these people actually think I'm good enough at what I do. Like, it's not just something that's in my like blonde little brain or something. It's something that people actually like see me being capable at.
So for you then, what next? This has all happened. You've said now going back. I mean, even just in terms of like, I mean, ultimately, what would you, if you could choose it for yourself, what would it be if you knew that you could just literally manifest it into being?
I would love to work at Triple J.
Yeah.
Call me. But like, I don't know. I think it would be so, that's just my place, you know? Like, I feel like I listen to the music there. The way I listen to their stuff a lot, I really like the segments they do. I feel like that reflects the type of creative stuff I want to create one day. Mm-hmm. But I think what's next for me is definitely hopefully doing radio somewhere. Mm-hmm. I don't know where that is. I'm doing some volunteer at Fresh. That'll be cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Great show. Great station.
Yeah, and I don't know, what am I doing next? I feel like that's the question everyone asks themselves every day almost. But
are you doing on-air stuff at Fresh?
Not sure yet. Not sure. I'm coming in a few weeks and they're going to train me and then decide if I do on-air or producer. Right. Which I feel like I'm not ready to go straight on air yet, to be honest. I'm not sure if that's a security blanket talking or me though. I feel like if somebody threw me in and was like, you have to host a show, I'd be like, oh, okay. Because do you know what like a Snapchat private story is?
I know what Snapchat is. Is that? Am I halfway there?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, good.
It's like a private story. Oh, duh. It's a story where you choose who's on it.
Yeah, okay.
And I love to rant on that story all the time. And I feel like when I get stressed with radio, I'm like, no, just my private story is called Poo Poo. So I'm like, just pretend you're on Poo Poo, you know? And then that always just gets me in the mood. That gets me talking like this. Like I'm like, I just close my eyes and picture that I'm talking to my friends on my phone. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's chronic though. I don't know, but it really helps.
I mean, yeah. I mean, really. I mean, there's nothing that will get you ready for doing live radio until you actually do live radio.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Have I ever told you what the first time I ever got thrown on live radio and what that experience was like?
No.
Because I was relieving. It was during like the summer break on Life FM was when it was on, and I was asked to go in. Can I go and do every morning? Well, the people who were the regular breakfast announcers at the time were on leave, and. I remember I sat in there and I was doing solo, which is full on its own, because you really, until you actually do, and seriously shout out like to Maz and all the people at Life who do solo stuff, because I find it does feel a lot like you just talking to yourself. You're having a conversation with yourself. There's nothing to bounce off, and I'm just not used to that at all. And I remember I went into the studio at some ungodly hour of the morning, because you get in there really, really early. I was in there at sort of like 5:30, 5:45, something like that in the morning. Gosh. And I went in and I sat down and I had my notes in front of me of what I was going to do for all my different talk breaks, and I had everything like lined up in a really complicated way. And it was getting up close to the hour, and then someone who was working there as a producer or something like that popped in, handed me a printout of the Bureau of Meteorology, like when you look up the Adelaide forecast and you just get the bomb printout, right? A printout of that. And they just stuck it in my hand and left. And as I was sort of like trying to get their attention through the glass and go, excuse me, what's this for? I could hear through the headphones this Life FM weather. And then like silence. And I was like, oh, this is where I talk now. And so I looked at the sheet of paper I had in front of me and I'm like, what do I actually do with this? And I thought, well, the only thing I could think of is I need to do an impression of a radio announcer doing the weather, because that's what you got to do, right? That's all I know how to do. So I like pick it up and just go, today 25 sunny, tomorrow 26, a little bit of evening rain and cold wind. And I'm like, oh, what is this? What am I doing? And that's when I just realized, no, this is just like, you start off, I guess, doing an impression or doing an impersonation of what you think a radio announcer is until you find your own thing, your own voice and your own way of doing it, because live is very different to recorded. But you should do it, man. You should just jump in and grab it and not worry about it, because you like the first few times you're going to do it, you're probably going to be bad, because the first time you do anything, you're bad. But I mean, you're an award-winning, radio host now, in terms of that, you'll be fantastic.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely. We've got more coming up, including music from Holby. But right now, this is Heather Fran. You are listening to RHD on Life FM. That is Heather Fran. You are listening to RHD on Life FM. James here with you. Hope you're having a fantastic evening. My very special guest has been the wonderful, talented, award-winning Catie Engelhardt. She's won the runner-up for the Daisy Award at the Australian Radio School just last year on New Year's Eve. She's also won multiple RHD podcasting awards as well, and has just been my very special guest here. Thank you so much for coming in, Catie.
Thanks
it's great
for
to see
having me.
Pleasure. Will you come back?
Absolutely.
We are here on RHD every Wednesday night from 9, every Saturday night from 10. Stay tuned to Life FM for more of your music. This is also turned to a video podcast too, if you want to see. Annalise was on the last show. Catie's wonderful smiling face as well on the video podcast. You can check it out on YouTube. And I think we'll put a link up somewhere too about the was it called The Lost Shoe? Was that the name of the podcast that you made?
Once Upon a Shoe.
Once Upon a Shoe.
I can't find it.
No, it's there.
Really?
I'll put the link up. No, we'll put it up there so people can check it out. It's this amazing story, like of all the most amazing stories about coming to school one day and you forgot a shoe.
Yeah.
And all of the drama and roller coaster ride that ensues from there on.
In shoes.
Is awesome. Listen to you. There it is. We'll check you out in a few more days. Audience, you're awesome. That didn't sound lumpy at all. Bye. Have a good one. See you soon.